How are you, Nisim? Okay.
I'm okay, Rabbi. Good to see you.
Thank God. All right. Okay, here we go.
Nisim, we miss you.
Yeah, I've just been very busy with work, man.
Wow.
By the time I get home, it's super late and tired, so I can't.
Wow.
It's like, yeah.
Okay. So where did we stop the last time?
We were in the middle of,
Right, middle, yeah.
I
Yeah, go
think,
ahead.
in Bet Yosef Yudan.
I see, okay. Yeah, so yeah, let's see, my marker's in the middle somewhere. You know exactly like where we stopped, or you're not really sure? Okay, no problem. Yeah, I don't know exactly either. I'll just go back a little bit, do some review. Okay. Ooh. I'm in the wrong place altogether. Oh my God. Took a wrong turn somewhere. Okay, now it looks more familiar. Yeah, okay. So I think we're up to lichora. Lichora. We finished Arkan Shano, right? Ein Kaf Lamed. And right, lichora. You got that?
Okay, yeah.
I showed to him, so he knows.
Velichora?
Yeah, lichora. Beautiful. So it says Velichora Nired de Masir Talito. So it says it seems to be that when a person removes his talit, v'dato lelobsho miyad, and he wants to wear it again immediately, Mayre, it's talking about this case. Ve'im ken hu cholek al Rabbeinu, so then he's cholek on Rabbeinu on the Torah, shenatat dato lomar, because he's meaning to say, they don't tzarich lavarech, he doesn't have to bless in a case like that. Ve'efshar haya lomar, so it's possible to say, it says, the Maharam Mayre, the Maharam is dealing with a case, ושלא היה דעתו להחזירו. So he didn't really want to put it back on, miyad, right away. משום אחי, and because of that, צריך לברך, that's the reason why he has to bless, because it wasn't his intention. אבל אם היה דעתו להחזירו, but if he wanted to return it, miyad, right away, לא היה צריך לברך, he doesn't have to bless.
So this is not, Rabbi, this is not talking about the case where you were not aware that it fell off, or this is you intentionally taking it off and you want to put it back on.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah, yes. So it says, so it says difficult. The imken my tama de maharach. If that's the case, what's the reason of the maharach? Shechilek ben nishar alav talit, that it differentiates between if the talit was left on him, katan talit katan was left, the lo nishar or it wasn't left. De'atu im lavash talit v'shachrit. But do you think what, that if he wore talit in the morning, v'siro, and then he took it off, v'chazar v'lovsho, and then he put it back on again, v'mincha, right? V'mincha. Lo yeh tzarich levarech. Why, you don't think he has to bless? Im nishar alav talit katan, because he has talit katan left over. Demali ze omali hesiro. Says, what's the difference between this and then when he takes it off? Shelo avdat lechaziro, and then with not the intention to put it back on. Yeah. He says, I already wrote besamuch, close by. Shenireh pashut. It seems that pashut seems simple. De'afilu bedato lelovsho, even if his intention is to put it on miyad right away, tzarich levarech. He does have to bless. Okay. No. Yeah. So Maran is like very, very sharp with these brachot. With the laws of brachot. He doesn't have any doubts, Just cuts right through. You know what I mean? Just not like the Achronim, "Oh, we're afraid, maybe we're gonna do this and maybe this, we're afraid of that, we're afraid of this." He wasn't afraid of nothing, he knew what the halacha was. What I mean? There was no fear there.
So even if you take it off for a second,
Yeah.
with the intention to put it back on, the
Not to put it back on, right? Not to put it back on. So you gotta bless again. That's what he's saying, right? Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go to Shulchan Aruch, right? You Dalit, right? I guess. Yeah. Okay, so it says Shulchan Aruch Yudal. It says Im Pashat Talito. You see those? See that? If he took off his talit, אפילו היה דעתו לחזור להתעטף בו מיד, even if he wants to put it back right away, צריך לבוא, I guess you're right. כשיחזור להתעטף בו, right? That's what he says. Okay, so yeah, that's the way he's saying it. Yeah. אפילו היה דעתו לחזור להתעטף בו מיד. Wow. So says the Rama, ויש אומרים שאין מברכים אם היה דעתו לחזור להתעטף בו. Some say you should not do that, right? So there is a machloket, right? The Rama is always going to be more, this way, and Maran is always that way. ויש אומרים דווקא כשנשאר עליו טלית קטן. Some say this only when talit katan was left on him. Ve'achi nohagin says this is the minhag. So according to Ashkenazim, it seems like what? If you have talit katan on, then if your intention was to put it right away, you don't have to bless. Right? That's the idea.
The talit gadol.
Sorry?
When you're wearing, Rama says when wearing talit katan, and you right away want to put on the talit gadol back on, you don't.
Right, that's what it means. Yeah.
Why would it make a difference? If you have the katan,
Because it makes it less of an interruption, because there's something left over. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's the idea. You understand?
so if you bless on the gadol, exempting the katan,
Right. So it's still left over. Something's left over there. So.
but it's different beged.
True, but it's the same mitzvah. You know what I mean? So therefore, that's the idea. This is the idea. By the way, there's something similar in laws of brachot also. You know what I'm talking about? I'll tell you. Let's say, right, you were having a meal, and there was a mitzvah to go and do, something like that. You have to go out, So there's a rule like this, or even not a mitzvah. You have to just go out, whatever. If you left a group over, you come back, you don't have to. There's a group left over. Same idea, you know what I mean? There's a group left over. You left. But if there's nobody left over, then you gotta bless again. There's an idea like that in halakha.
When you come back, you don't have to bless.
Right. If there's a group left over, right?
You can continue eating.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I don't remember all the details, but this is the basic idea, So there is a concept like this. So see, that's the same thing, Something left over. So we, so.
But we said we bless on every single carbon separately because it's a separate mitzvah.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, there's something left over there, That's the idea. Yeah. So you wanna we call it, you wanna get some piece of good advice? I'll give you good advice. It says in the Talmud, if a person wants to learn the Torah, right? As you see, right, the Torah is full of different opinions, different aspects, different approaches, and different things in this and that. Right? So how do you remember all this, and how do you absorb all that? How do you absorb the whole Torah? So the Talmud says, a person has to humble himself to absorb the Torah. So what does that mean? You know what that means? One of the meanings is like this: that when you hear something which doesn't seem right to you, you know what I'm saying? Absorb it for now. You know what I mean? In other words, don't fight with it. When you fight with it, remember it less. You know what I mean? Like just absorb. Just take it in, and then one day you'll come back and you'll ask questions about it. This, that, right, all kinds of things. Next time, the next round. You know what I mean? So there are some people who learn the Torah very slowly, and some people like just pick it up, like they swallow it up, gobble it up. Why is that? Why are some people they gobble up the whole Torah? Some people it's like everything, every little halacha or every little gemara is like big deal, you know why? Because he fights with it. You understand? When you fight with the Torah, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to absorb it. You have to just drink it in.
Could also,
You know what I mean?
could also because some people
Yeah.
have a difficult time learning, while others it's easy.
Right, but that's why it's difficult because they're fighting with it. You understand? When you don't fight with it, just absorb it. So like I've been learning for like 35 years. So I learned, like that's the way to do it. Just like it's like you have to take like a female mode. Like just absorb. Don't fight. Don't take a masculine mode. Don't try to push too much. You know what I mean? This is the way to do it. If you want to absorb the Torah.
But aren't we supposed to be analytical and think?
Yeah, of course, it's true. Yeah, you know what I mean. So in other words, yes, I'll tell you how it works. Be analytical in the sense that to understand all the details. You know what I mean? Get all the details, but don't fight with it. Just drink it in. And this way, you'll just get more. You'll just get more Torah. That's the way it is. Can I tell you?
Accept all opinions.
Yeah, just accept it because they're all true in some sense. You know what I mean? There's all okay. They're all yeah. They say right that there's a thing like this that every opinion which was said by the poskim was said also in Har Sinai. You know what I mean? Can you imagine? So it's like whatever they're saying, these Chachamim, it was also said on Har Sinai.
A different context.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, whatever. Just these things which we see in the poskim, they're already it's like regurgitated Torah. That it's already been around for a long time. I mean, just you know why that is? Because I'll explain to you how that works. What happens is like this: even though you were not on Har Sinai, you were, but you don't remember, right? What happened over there? So you don't remember anything. But the thing is like this: when a person knows how to think in Torah, he always comes up with the right, conclusions and questions. So naturally, he just becomes a part of it. You know what I mean? When you get to that level, then you're really a rabbi. Like a real chacham. That in other words, everything you say is like on the mark. It's just a different aspect, different. It may not be the halacha, but you're saying some emet. So when a person gets to the level where everything he says is emet, then he's a real chacham. You know what I mean? And that's what they were, these rabbis. You know what I mean? They were real chachamim. You know what I mean? So that's the way it's.
How do you put
Yeah.
this together?
Yeah, that what
This
yeah.
case, right? One, Rama says, don't bless. Well, that says bless. How could, and the context is the same. How could those both things be true and was said in the Tanakh?
Because it's just this Torah is not simple. It's complicated. It's complex. That's what it is. The Torah is a complex. It's a complex medium.
But this one is,
Yeah.
seems like it's a black and white.
Right.
Either
Yeah,
one
but
or
it
the
is. But
other.
even then, it's complex. In other words, there is a side to say yes. There's a side to say no. There's both sides, and they're both true. This is the world. This is the way the world is built. Welcome from Dallas. Hi. Nice to see you. Okay.
Definition of true, Rabbi.
I'm sorry.
I guess I'm not understanding the definition of what's true. True
Yeah.
in a sense of
That means that it's the logic in the is proper and correct. In other words, it's Torah-based logic. It's Torah-based knowledge. This is the way it is. This is what a lot of people don't understand about Torah. People who are like not trained in the yeshivot so much. They don't understand this concept. You know what I mean? Like so much. They think, like you have to read in a book, otherwise, you can't say that. It doesn't work like that. You can also think of Torah. If you are on the level, what you say is also Torah. So how do you get to that level? By training yourself, like first absorb, everything, and then the more you absorb, whatever comes out of you, it's going to be the same thing. You understand? Whatever comes out of your mouth is going to be a product of what you already absorbed. So it's all going to be true. This is the way it works. That's the way it is. Yeah.
But sometimes when a person learns, they may sometimes not comprehend what he's learning.
Right. So what I'm saying is right that yeah, of course that also happens. That also happens. But it's it's as I said, right. The humility really helps. Just to become like somebody who's just a kli. A kli. Just to take in. Don't fight with it. Just accept it. I remember when I was younger. I was in a different kollel before I was in that kollel. I was in a different kollel, and I used to ask all kinds of questions, and Talmud and this, and like I would go to the rabbi, the Rosh Kollel, and I would tell him, what about this? What about? So he would tell me, just accept it. Yeah, and that would make me frustrated. Like, what do you mean just accept it? I want to understand it. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? But he was right in a sense. You know what I mean? In the sense that he saw them too much fighting with it. That's not good to fight with the Torah. Just drink it in.
Well, it's not so much more complicated. That's one thing you can, but when you see so many arguments and so many
Yeah,
disagreements, like
yeah.
what do you absorb?
You got to take all the sides. By the way, there's a difference between. See, that's how Maran did it. Maran, he just absorbed the whole Torah. Like he didn't fight with the Torah, just drank it in. And that's why he got more books than anybody else. You know why? Because he just kept drinking, not fighting. Just drink it in, and then when the time comes, you'll do something with that Torah actively. You'll actively also start to play with it, but first drink it in. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's the way it works. Okay, very good. So anyway, right? I think you were right what you said. That according to Maran, as we see, right, that even if his intention was to return it, he still has to bless. Okay, so probably here, my guess would be that we don't pass like Maran. In other words, most of the Acharim are going to say not to bless here. Because it's kind of like a doubtful situation. Sapek brachot le'akel, because of this reason. I mean, the truth is that it's very interesting. Maran is very sharp, the Achronim that came later were not as sharp as Maran, so they had troubles, maybe I don't know, it doesn't sound right, but Maran was like,
That was a show, right?
yeah, he was not really a Rishon. He was in the first generation of the Achronim. That's what he was,
But the later they would argue with him.
Of course, yeah, it's up and down. Goes, the way it usually works is like the rabbis that come after you, like next 200 years or so, will argue with you. Like it's a sure bet. You can be sure about it. 200 or 300 years, they're going to be arguing with you. Like the Gra was like 200 years after Maran, and he was arguing with Maran. Still arguing with Maran. That's the way it was. Okay, good. So that's the way it goes. So let's go. So yeah, it's a little bit hard to swallow this, right? So what's the logic of it, though? Like just in terms of logic, why would you want to bless in a case like this? Where, huh?
You didn't take your mind off of it.
Right. You did not. Yeah, you're right. So then why would you want to bless?
Because of an interruption.
Right, but what's the interruption over here? It was right away, no? Like chick chack, So then what's the reason to bless over here? It's a little bit baffling, the truth is, but I think that what he wants to say is like this, that you know what it is? When you take it off, it's like it's an action of negation,
What's negation?
You know what I mean? Like in other words, you're shunning it, you're pushing it away, So that in itself is already, hefsek, it's already, Now, why did you take it off? I mean, then you wanted to stop the mitzvah. That's the whole thing, That's the logic of it. Otherwise, why did you take it off? What did you take it off for? Just leave it on, So that's probably what it is, Yeah, it's sharp. It's a sharp concept, a little bit sharp, on the sharp side. Okay, whatever. Right, let's go on. But my guess is that most of the Acharim are going to argue with this. You know what? Let me just look at the Mishnah Berurah quickly here. See what he says. There's also Magen Avraham. Oh, they're going to have a field day on this one. Okay. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Okay. So he tells you to go somewhere else. Let's see here. So the Mishnah Berurah seems to go like the Ramah, right? Which doesn't surprise me. That he says if you left the Talit Katan on, you don't have to bless again, right? Like the Ramah Paskin. Okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, they're both Ashkenazim, right? So that makes sense. Okay, let me look at the Magen Avraham. By the way, the Magen Avraham is considered to be one of the big poskim, one of the big achronim. So like after Maran, like one of the big ones. So if right, so basically, the Magen Avraham and the Mishnah Berurah are going like the Ramah. Okay, it doesn't surprise me.
Like in the Ram too?
Yeah, same thing here. They're Ashkenazim, so it doesn't surprise me. Okay, look in Yalkut Yosef B'Neve. I'll check what it says there. I don't want to bother you guys now, but it'll take a long time. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. I mean, usually we don't do this anyway, I mean, it's not very common. Why would you want to take it off, and then put it right back on? Like, what's the point of that? Like,
Does Mishnah Berurah also say if you take it off with the intention to put it back on,
yeah.
but you took off your mind of it, you don't bless? Like going to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's a different story. We're not talking about that here. He's not going to talk about that here, the Mishnah Berurah. I mean, there's a different place for that. I think we already passed it, right?
Right.
So we'll have to look over there. But anyway, right, in this case, they seem to go like the Ramah, basically. There's also the Taz. Okay, let's see what the Taz says. He's the other big guy over here. Katab Zel Lefi Shitato Yosef. Right, so he seems to say not to bless. Yes, they're all Ashkenazim. Right, so he does talk about the bathroom, right? The Taz. He says not to bless, right? Which I know there's an opinion like that, not to bless. I think most of the Achronim say like that. Okay, whatever. There's no end to it. There's so many opinions, Okay, so anyway, let's go on. We'll go to Tetvav, right?
Yes.
Abraham, you hear me? Abraham? Let's tell him about what I looked up for him. So right, it says Katuv Nimuke Yosef. It's in the Bet Yosef. Tetvav. You see that? Katuv
Yes.
Nimuke Yosef. Got it, Yitzchak? So it says Beshem Aritva, name of the Ritva. Sheim Naflat Talito. Oh, this is another interesting one, right? If his talit fell, Shelo b'mitkaven, and this wasn't his intention, right? It was an accident. the chozer v'lobesh, right? And he's now coming back to wear it again. Mitatef, and he's gonna put it on. Yesh omrim she'eno tzarich lechazor barech. Some say you don't have to bless on that. V'chen shamati b'shem Rabbeinu Yonah. It says that's where name Rabbeinu Yonah. Aval mori haya. But he says my Rebbe haya omer. He was saying she'ab bezu chozer barech. You do have to bless. Benireli, benireli kidvarav. So it says I hold like that too. So in other words, here you have the like Nimuke Yosef in the name of the Ritva.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't understand. You don't want to put it back on?
No, this happens all the time, like not all the time, but quite often actually. Once in a while, like your talit just slips off,
Right.
just falls on the floor, boom. So that wasn't your intention, right? So since it wasn't your intention, you have to bless again because, in other words, it's a hepsek, it's an interruption,
But we just
Yeah.
saw that some say you don't.
right? But over there we were talking about he himself took it off, you know what I mean, with the intention to put it back on. But here it's like it's more of an interruption because like just it slipped off. So it wasn't in your head, to do this or to do that. It just came off of you.
What if you like
Yeah.
caught it in midair?
Yeah, well, so the answer is like this, if it's still on your body, okay, but if it's not, so it's the same thing as being on the floor.
Just a
You know what I mean?
Just a little bit. If one shoulder
Either
is
it's on your body or it's not on your body, right? You got to make that determination. I can't make it for you, unless you give me the video. I'll check with the video.
Is it portion of the body or just
I'm
a
sorry.
portion of the body has to be covered or just a little
Eh,
bit?
I mean, what can I tell you? I don't really know what the determination is, but it probably, it goes like, if you're just like, you have to be really covered, like thick clothing, has to be on you.
So if one side fell, one side is still there.
Yeah, there's, those are like very borderline cases, like, so you have to see what's going on there. It's hard to really make a general rule about that because you have to see, how much is left over, how much is this, whatever. But
Rabbi, something you said yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? About you're still doing the mitzvah, but the bracha is the rabbanan. So
right, of course,
just
yeah,
don't
of
say-
course. Right, but here the question is, do you need a bracha or not? That's the question, This is the question. The mitzvah, okay, fine, but question is, do you need to bless? So when do you need to bless? When you're doing a new mitzvah, something new. So this is already new because it fell off.
What if you don't
No?
say it? Is it the negative?
So you lost, the mitzvah of saying a bracha, which is a mitzvah, it's a
Well,
mitzvah. It's a rabbinical, all these blessings are rabbinical, of course.
But you didn't. You didn't do an avera. You just.
There is an
missed the-
avera if you need a bracha and you didn't do it. There is an avera, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Right. Okay, so anyway, right? He says that. Okay, so he himself holds that you should bless again. The dat Rabbeinu Kedivya Omer Shechozer Barech. So it says Rabbeinu holds that you got to bless on this one. In other words, in the first case that we mentioned before, Rabbeinu, the tour, had a doubt about that, and Maran was sure. Right? That was the way it turned out. But here, even the tour is sure that you have to bless again. Because we said, right, this case is not the same as before. This is a different case. The Hayalif with tefillin, why? Because we learned from tefillin, with tefillin, kol hechad dezazu min kuman, and there's a rule with tefillin, right? If it moved off its place, it wasn't your intention to move it off. You have to bless on that. Everybody holds like that. That's what it says in Talmidim Rabbeinu Yonah. The so perek kama de brachot. In the first perek of brachot, Gabe Birkat Torah, regarding Birkat Torah, Shekibla Shekabala Biyad Rabbeinu Yonah, that he had a tradition, this rabbi, Mirabotah, from his rabbis, Shafiru Nafal Tzitzit Mimenu, even if the tzitzit fell from him, V'lokcho miyad, and he took it right away. Boop, right away, grabbed it. And he wrapped himself. Shem barech alav, he still has to bless right away. Even though his intention was not to remove it, it just fell. Right? I mean, this is more easy to understand from me than the last one. The last one was a little bit difficult to understand. This one, I grabbed it. And sometimes the truth is, when you see these things for the first time, sometimes it's really hard to grab these things. Any svara like this, like just it's hard to grasp it. It's gotta grapple with it a little bit. Yeah. So I mean, some like I sometimes like I make light of you guys, and say, oh, you have to like humble yourself. But the truth is, when I was doing the first place like you, I also had problems with it, So I'm not any different than you. So I'm trying to tell you.
No, this one was pretty logical.
Yeah, it's pretty logical. Yeah.
And also
The
this
previous
one.
one was not.
Right.
I also say that this one is like, it's like kind of straightforward.
Straightforward. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Even though it's sort of a chidush, though. I mean, it's a little bit sharp. Like because like if they didn't tell you this, would you say that yourself? No, right? We wouldn't say that, right? We would say, no. What are you talking about? Just fill out for a second. Come on. That's what we would say, right? That's what we would say. Yeah, so it's not exactly what you think.
I want to go deeper into the source. Like where did Yonah? Who said you don't bless?
Oh, so we have three Rishonim, right? We had Yosef and the Ritva.
But where did they get it from? That you don't bless.
Well, these Rishonim were Talmudists, so they are according to their knowledge of the Talmud, so Maran just mentioned, by the way, what the source is. The source is Tefillin. We learn all these halachot from Tefillin.
Right, but
You know what I mean?
Say if Tefillin, we know that if it's moved,
Yeah,
you say we don't have it.
right.
How can they, based on that, say you don't bless? The other,
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. What was the question?
the opinion of those who say we don't bless on Tzitzit.
On Tzitzit when
It
it fell?
Yes,
Oh, okay, yeah.
they're basing also on the same Gemara.
Right, so that means it's not so clear, it's it's ambiguous, the halacha. I mean? It's a matter of judgment. It's like,
So based on the same.
how you interpret, these things, how you interpret these kind of concepts. The truth is, it's a new concept. In other words, you can see from here that this thing was not covered in the Talmud, because if it was, it would be simple, right? Just, do whatever it says in the Talmud. You know what I mean? So this was something which was not covered in the Talmud, and therefore the Rishonim had to grapple with it, and to come up with something. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the way it is. So okay, so anyway, right, as we said, the most people seem to hold you should bless here. You want to say something? Okay. So interesting. Okay, so then it goes on to say also Rabbeinu Talmidei Rabbeinu Yonah, like what they speak, Kamal Brachot, first parak of Brachot, Birkat Torah, right, regarding the Birkat Torah, Shekabbalah Biad Rabbeinu Yonah, he had this tradition, Mirabotah, from his rabbis, Shafiru Nafal Tzitzit Miman, right, as we said, Lakom Yad when it's a tepo, we said this already, we know this. Okay, man. Also, then it goes on. Abraham, are you listening, Abraham?
Yes, Rabbi.
Yeah, just no. I wanted to get back to you on what you asked about the half-hour thing.
Okay.
So according to the Rishonim that we saw in the Bet Yosef, it seems like it's not a half hour. There's no time issue there. It's a matter of diverting your mind. Once you divert your mind to something else, that's when it becomes an obligation to bless again.
So while you have your mind on the mitzvah, you can still put it
Right.
on without a bracha.
Right. You don't really have to have your mind on it, just not to divert your mind to something else. You know what I mean? Like to do something else. Let's say somebody calls you on the phone, right? And you have like a long conversation, right? Some kind of involved situation. Okay? So that's that you're diverting your mind to something else. You understand? Something like that. Or you went to, to the bank to deposit, you went to the cash machine, right? You diverted your mind. Even though it was a 2-minute job. Right. So it seems to maybe from what you're saying, is written in the Achronim somewhere, but the Rishonim don't say this, just the opposite, right? The Rishonim are saying just the opposite, that it's not an issue of time, it's an issue of where your mind is holding, right? If you diverted your mind or not. Okay, whatever. Anyway, just wanted to tell you that. According to what we saw, so that was so then it goes on. So this was your question, right? Most of the talit fell, right? Some of it stayed on. There you go. Okay, so it says, look what it says, right? If most of it fell, it's like all of it fell. So we go according to majority. There you go. Then he says it's also possible to say, no, right? That's why I had doubts. They also have doubts, you see. I wasn't really sure myself. So it says also it's possible to say that as long as it all didn't fall off, you don't have to bless. Like we say it with tefillah also, with prayers, right? What is that? Whatever, yeah. In other words, we go according to the majority. No, even the majority. The shani lan ben nafal kulo nafal mitzato. So it's different between the whole thing falling or some of it falling. Kim vo'ar b'siman tzadik zayin, like it says in tzadik zayin. Right, that's talking about tefillah over there, whatever, some kind of issue with tefillah. There's any yoter, so it says this. It seems to be the more proper way of approaching it. So, meaning what? That as long as all of it didn't fall, he says, don't bless. There you go, right?
Happens a lot.
It does happen. It's true. It's true.
So if
Yeah.
most of it falls off, you bless or don't bless.
So he's saying, right, that as long as something stayed on you, in other words, something on your shoulder, stayed on,
Yeah.
you're good. Okay.
You catch it in the air.
That's good.
Yep.
Okay. All right, good. So Umash Katab Rabbeinu Kegon Shepashat Oto Kede Tikanes Lebet HaKiseh. So now we're talking about the bathroom issue, right? He went into the bathroom and he took off his talit, right? So says Maran, Lo shetzarich lepashtosh. It doesn't mean you have to take it off when you go to the bathroom. In other words, you're not obligated to take it off. Yeah, I mean, what's the problem with taking a talit in the bathroom? What, it's Sefer Torah? Well, what's the problem with that? In other words, you know what the reason is? Because the talit doesn't have kedusha. It's a mitzvah item. It's an ana kedusha item. There's two different things, right? Davar mitzvah, davar should be kedusha. So it's a mitzvah item, but it has no holiness. It's just a beggar, it's a clothing, That's what it is.
But when the strings
Yeah.
form on the toilet.
Right, that's disgusting. Yeah, I mean, it's issue of cleanliness, whatever.
Rabbi, if
Yeah.
you have those,
Yeah.
are you allowed to still use it and pray? Or if, let's say, urine is on it?
Yeah. So you should wash it off. I mean, that would be the proper thing to do, wash it off with water. Yeah. Unless it's Shabbat, right? If it's Shabbat, just dry it off with the tissue, That's it. What else can you do?
But you're allowed to still continue wearing it?
I'll tell you something from my experience, okay? Wool doesn't really absorb a lot. So if you take it off fast, you'll probably save it, like pretty much. You know what I mean?
No, but the strings
Yeah.
are wool? Or then-
The strings are wool, yeah. So wool is not really so absorbent, So if you save it quickly, take some water and just wash it off right away, it won't really absorb much. Yeah, so that's the way to do it. But then you can take it to the dry cleaners afterwards.
But is there
No
issue,
problem.
but is there issue of the urine still there and you're blessing with it?
Once you clean it off, there's nothing there. That's it, There's nothing there. See, there's a difference between urine, like, wet urine and absorbed. Once it's absorbed, it's not a problem anymore.
But if it's still wet, you wiped it off, it's still wet.
No, yeah, it's moist, but there's no wetness there. In other words, real liquid. There's no liquid there, so that's okay.
It's absorbed.
Yeah, it's absorbed, so that's okay. According to halacha, it's fine. Yeah,
Hmm.
yes. Unless there's a bad smell coming from it, that's going to be a problem, obviously. You know what I mean? But if there's no smell, no problem. Okay, very good. So when it comes to urine, this is the way we judge it. Is it like a puddle of urine? Or it's absorbed? Once it gets absorbed, it's okay. Same thing in the ground, like once it gets absorbed into the ground, it's fine, Because then there's no puddle there, That's the idea. Okay, let's go on. Okay, so it says, right? We already said this, right? So we already said, because Rabbeinu wrote in the Torah, right? Siman Kaf Aleph, you're allowed to go in the bathroom with the talit, as we said, right? It's mutar. The problem is like this, that the way he's wearing it, it's blocking his use of the bathroom, you know what I mean? He needs to open it up. So he has to take it off. There's no other way for him to use the bathroom. This is the problem, But to take it into the bathroom, there's no prohibition. Okay, very good. It's just a matter of cleanliness, as we said, right? You don't want to spill, urine, as you said, right? You don't want to get this kind of thing. So the proper thing to do is to take it off, just for cleanliness. But it's not a halakhic issue. Okay, very good. You got the idea. So let's go to Tetvav, right? Shulchan Aruch. So it says in Shulchan Aruch, Im naflat talito, you got it? It says if his talit fell off, shalom mitkaven, but it wasn't his intention, right? Just slipped off of him, boom. So he goes, now he's going to put it right back on. He has to bless on that, right? That's only when it all fell. Oh, but if it didn't all fall, some of it stayed on. Even though most of it fell off, you don't have to bless, right? So there you go, right? Okay, very good. So we'll go to Tanzania. Maybe we'll be zocher to finish the siman today. Oh my God, ooh, very good. Oh, milestone. So I'm going back to the Bet Yosef, whatever. So right, we have to read the tour, but I don't know if did we finish the tour already? The siman? Finish
I
it?
wasn't here.
I think we always do that, right?
No, not always, but I think it was just short. That's why. We finished because it was short.
The last couple of times we actually first finished the tour, then we went to.
Yeah, it was because it was short. Usually we don't do that, but okay, whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna read the Bet Yosef. Just let's read it. So it says like this, right? You got it, Tetzain? V'yashen b'talito. It says, right? If he sleeps in his talit, b'layla. Oh, right, there you go, right? En tzarich levarech alav b'boker. That's the tour says, right? You don't have to bless on it in the morning. And the reason may be, by the way, because the Rosh, holds like this, but we don't hold like this. Maybe we'll see. Let's see the Bet Yosef, and he'll explain what that means. So he says, there you go, right? It seems like the reason why he says is because he holds like the Rosh. So what does the Rosh hold? That when you have a clothing, which is especially for the day, it's chayav and tzitzit, it's obligated. Even if he wears it at night. So you should bless on that. Because we hold, Laila loves man tzitzit. It says in the Gemara, right? Where is that? Menachot men gimel. Laila is not time of tzitzit. Night is not time of tzitzit. That's so Rosh learns that it's talking about something which like a pajama, which is only for the night. Like it says in Siman Yudchet. And according to the Rosh, since you're really liable to have tzitzit, in a day beged, in a day clothing, at night, you also bless on it to according to the Rosh. Right? La havia laila have sex. So then the night is not really an interruption between the 2 days, the day before and the day after. It's like one long day, according to the Rosh. But he says, I saw that the Rosh wrote in a tshuva in a response, Klal Bet Siman Yud Gimel, Shesha'alta halan talito. So he says like this, you ask a question. A person will sleep with his talit at night. When he gets up in the morning, is he obligated to take it off and then put it back on? In other words, in order to bless on it, right? To make an interruption.
Mm-hmm.
Is he chayav to do that? Right? Or should he just feel the tzitzit, rope the tzitzit, and then to bless? So says the Rosh like this. It seems to me, you don't have to take it off. That seems to contradict what we just said, right? That if you wear it all night, you don't have to bless. This is the way it comes out in Perek Tchelet, Menachot Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. Because we have a Girsa over there in the Gemara. Rav Yehuda Rama Techelta Lefruz Leparzuma Teinshet Bete Umbarech Bechol Tzafra Litatef Tzitzit. So it says over here in the Gemara that Rabbi Yehuda used to bless on it every day, the tzitzit, right? Every morning. Uparich midrame shema mina mitzvot laseh shelo azman grama. So you see from there, right, he must hold that it's like not time bound, this mitzvah, right? Gramahu. Amay mevarech perush. Why should you bless? But a night is not time of tzitzit, as we said, right? Amai haya mevarech. So he says, when would he bless? He answers, b'chol boker, every morning. Kivan shelo avar alav zman patur. Since there was no time that was patur, that was exempt. Mishane kirabi, and he says. So the Gemara answers this question. It says it's like Rabbi, right? Rabbi Danasi. The Tanya we learned in the Braita. Tefillin kol zman shemenichim mevarech alehem. Shemenichan, all the time when it comes to tefillin, all the time that he has them on, he can bless on them. Divrei Rabbi, that's according to Rabbi. Perush balayla, that means even at night. Wow. Balayla haya poshtan. I'm sorry, no, I didn't say it right. At night he would take it off. But boker, and in the morning, kishaya chozer v'loshan, and then when he come back and put it on in the morning, haya mevarech, he would bless again. Umashma de mikara haya sabu. So it implies that originally he thought that he wouldn't take it off at night, and therefore he asked the question. The Gemara came on to Sabak Laila Zman Tzitzit, right? Since he holds that night is not a time of Tzitzit, why would he bless them? Because it's a continuation, right? The Im Haya Poshto Belayla, if you take it off at night, my kashe then what's the difficulty? If he blesses again, if he wears it again, Alma Adidan the Kaimalan. So it says, you see from here that according to us that we hold, right, that what Laila loves man tzitzitu, that night is not time of tzitzit, right? Yesh levarech b'boker, so that you should bless in the morning. In other words, so you see from there, right, that we don't hold like the Torah that you shouldn't bless in the morning because it's you wore it all night. We don't hold like that. Even if you don't take it off. But he says anyway, it's good to group them a little bit. B'shat bracha, the time of the bracha. So in other words, here the Rosh says like this, you know. So he seems to contradict himself because we saw before that he held that that the Torah said, according to his opinion, that you should not bless in the morning. So here he's saying you should. So how do we reconcile this? Right, this is a little bit of issue here. So it implies that he holds that even though that clothing which is made for the day, chayav tzitzit, that is obligated for tzitzit, and we bless on it. Kivan the Laila loves man tzitzit too, but since night is not time of tzitzit, sharet gorem liftor kesut amiuchad the Laila, because it exempts the clothing which is for the night. Even if he wears in the daytime, how they have sex, it's going to have sex, it's going to be interruption. So okay, interesting. With that Rambam, so but what about the Rambam? Right, the Laila loves man tzitzit too. According to Rambam, night is not time of tzitzit at all. In other words, in any manner, any fashion, right? It's totally like exempt, right? That's how we paskin, by the way, more. You know, we here, right? Klal davar pashut tu the tzarich levarech alav b'boker. So that is pashut. You have to bless in the morning, according to Rambam, right? Because it was an interruption at night. There's nothing you can do about that. So he says, therefore, there's a question on Rabbeinu here. How do you say you shouldn't have to bless? In other words, even the Rosh seems to say that you should bless. You know what I mean? So what happened over here? All the more so the Rambam, right? All the more so. The opposite of the Rambam. And also, it's the opposite of what the Rosh wrote in the Tshuva. So the Maran is saying, right, pretty much, that we got to can this tour. We got to can it. You know what I mean? In other words, it's not the halakha because it's against the Rosh and it's against the Rambam. So therefore, the rule is right that those who bless in the morning on Talit Katan, as we said, right, we don't really know that anymore. But if it was that you did, right, you would have to bless even if you wore it all night. That's the way it comes out. So it says over there, right, Hagot Maimon, B'Shem Sefer Tuma, name of Tuma, Adam Hamashkim B'Kodem Hayom. What about a person who gets up early in the morning, right? In other words, before the day, before the dawn, right? And he puts on tzitzit. You don't have to remove your talit. In order to, when the day comes, they should bless. You don't have to do that. What all he has to do is go up your tzitzit and he bless on it, right? Tanya Besot Perek Kometz Rabbah, like it says in this place in the Gemara. Menachot Lamed Vav Amud Amud Aleph. Gabet Tefillin. Hayam Mashkim. That's it. What does it say about tefillin over there? It says like this, right? If you get up in the morning, okay, and you want to travel somewhere, and he's afraid his tefillin is going to get lost. So what should he do? Menichan. You should put them on. It's still night. He puts it on, And then when the time comes for the tefillin, after the dawn, right? Zmanan, you feel them, and bless on them. That's the way you do it. That's all it says. That's what they wrote. Also Mordechai, these are all Rishonim, right? Samak, Mordechai. They all seem to agree. L'shem Ratz. Even though he wrote that the Ri is arguing with this, the Sofa Darim in the end, Katav Mihu Nahaku Keperush Ratz. So he says now the minhag is like the Ratz. Look what people do. He says everybody does like that. Ad kan leshono. So it says there's also another implication in the response to the Rosh that I wrote close by. Lama Katav. Why do you say that you should grope them? Right? It's good to grope them. Rosh.
To rub. Go means to rub.
Grope. Grope means like to feel it,
Oh.
Like this,
Okay.
Like that, right? It's always a good idea to do that when you're doing a mitzvah, like take something, take the mitzvah and, hold on to it, right? Whatever. So it says, חולק עליו בסוף הדברים, כתב ומיהו נהג כפירוש רץ, פוק חזי ממנו, דבר, we have said this. ויש לדקדק בתשובת הראש, so it says, we said, right, so טוב למשמע שלהם, so he says, בשעת ברכה, you should try to grope them in time of the blessing, דהב עליהם למימה, you should have said, וצריך למשמש בהם, או, בשעת הברכה, כדי אשכחן, so in other words, what he's saying is like this, why did the Rosh say it's a good idea to do that? You should have said, you're obligated to do that, you should do it. Right? Like we find with tefillin, that you should do it. I mean, even though night is not time of tefillin, but we say like this, when time comes, right? You got to feel them, and bless on them. So it implies that you have to group them. That's the way it seems from Rabbeinu Shlomo, right? Which may be the Rashi. You got to feel them, because when you feel them, it's like you put them on now. Same idea, maybe you can say like this, the Rosh has a doubt. If it's only regarding tefillin, which is a mitzvah, you have to grope them. You have to grope them and bless. When it comes to tzitzit, it's not really a mitzvah to grope the tzitzit. Interesting, right? There is a mitzvah to feel the tefillin. There is no mitzvah to feel the tzitzit. You understand what I'm saying? You know what that means? There's a halacha like this. When we get to the laws of tefillin, we're going to learn, right, that when a person is wearing tefillin, he should always be like feeling them, all the time. Why is that? Because it reminds him that they're on his body. He shouldn't do something which is asur, to have bad thoughts or whatever. Understand? So it's a mitzvah to have, when your tefillin is on you, always play around with it,
Just not play. They don't play around enough to the point we have to make another bracha.
Right, but the whole point is, you're also keeping it in place. You know what I mean? When you play with it, like you're always checking. Is it in the right place? It got a little bit off. Let me correct it. That's the idea. So it's a mitzvah like that to always play around with your tefillin. But with tzitzit, we don't find such a thing like that, right? Once you put it on, it's on. That's it. Why, for what to play with it? You know what I mean? There's no reason for that. Okay, so what? I'm sorry. Yes.
But you said to rope it or to feel it.
Yeah, groping means like the feeling. Grope, like
Okay, so it's not the same as feeling it, like you said about the
it's the same idea. It means like touching it, like kind of like
Okay.
feeling it. Like kind of. Yeah. So that's the idea, and okay, good. So when it comes to tzitzit, when he puts them on, it could be that you don't even have to grope it. There's no reason to grope it. Right? When you bless on it, like the tefillin. Or possibly, he says another possibility. Maybe they're all the same. The tefillin and tzitzit is the same. In other words, maybe the Rosh had the safek. He wasn't really sure whether it's the same or not. It's tefillin. right? Katav shetov lemashmesh b'shat habracha. So therefore, he wrote, it's good to do it, but not really obligation because he's not really sure it's an obligation. Okay, interesting. Okay, some possibilities over there. Okay, let's see the Shulchan Aruch, and I guess we'll stop
Yeah.
there. Ted Zayin. Interesting. A lot of details over here, right? But really, these details are very important.
Did we finish this one?
No, we got one more, but I don't think we'll do it today. Unless you guys want to do some extra credit.
How should what is
That's fine.
Okay.
oh
Ted Zayin.
so
It's big.
no Yud-Zayin. No, the video said Yud-Zayin.
Is it big?
But you said Yud-Zayin, no?
No. Okay, I mean, we'll keep it open. Just let's do first this one. No problem. If you guys really want to do it, I'm not going to stop you.
No, it's just very short, so might as well.
No problem. I'm here. Listen, I'm not running anywhere. So Asher can wait. What can I do?
We'll keep it
You have to
going.
wait. Asher will have to wait. Okay.
Is it an Avera?
I'm sorry.
It's an Avera?
What, for a coin to wait?
For you to make you wait and for the coin to wait.
Depends how much it is. It depends how much time.
Bitul
But,
Torah.
I hope it won't get to that. So, so let's do the Shulchan Aruch Tet Zayin, right? Halan v'talito b'layla, right? As a person sleeps with his talit at night, right? Like Nisim, right? Tzarich levarech halav b'boker, bless in the morning. Right? So you got to bless in the morning, right? That's the rule. Because we paskin not like the Torah, right? The Torah has it's a little bit of a strange issue going on there. I'm not really sure why he said that. Even if he didn't take it off. So he says like the Rosh, right? Good idea to grope it a little bit, when you bless on it. Yeah, do that grope. All right, there you go, right? That's what I do, by the way. I've been doing that for years. Got used to it already. Let me take my bless on something. Yeah. Okay, so then it says the Rama, or whoever it is over here, the small print. Same thing, right? If you're putting your talit before the dawn, it's still night, right? So then when the dawn comes, right, feel it and bless it, right? Bless on it.
The bracha would be al mitzvah tzitzit or lihitat tzitzit.
Depends if it's katan or gadol, right? Katan is al mitzvah,
Okay.
right? And we said today we don't do that, right? But theoretically, that's what it will be, right? In theory.
Right,
Okay.
Okay, so already you prayed Shacharit, you go and after
Right,
the
yeah, for
shower,
sure, yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. So we got that down. Okay, what else is left here?
Yud-Zayin.
Okay.
Barely 2 minutes.
Okay, wow, okay. All right. Listen, who can stop you guys, man? I can't stop you. Okay, 1 second. Let's see. So it says Katav Rambam, right? In Bet Yosef, Maram Bet Yosef. Katav Rambam. You got it, Yitzchak? Okay, so it says Katav Rambam, Besot Perek Gimel. Says the Rambam in the end of Perek Gimel, She'im nit kasab bebeged. If he covered himself with a beged, with a clothing, Shu chayav betzitzit. It's chayav and tzitzit. Right? What does that mean? It has 4 corners, right? 4-cornered beged. V'lo yitil bo tzitzit, and he didn't put tzitzit, right? So he put it on without tzitzit. Like Bitel Mitzvah says, so you just transgressed a positive commandment from the Torah, right? To put tzitzit on your beged. When did you transgress? When you put it on. But if it's in your closet, no problem, right? There's no issue. You know what I mean? So the question is there a difference between Shabbat and Chol? Right, the weekdays. So I'm going to write that in Yud Gimel. We'll see over there what's going on. We'll see it Yad Ishmael. We'll save it for there, right? Okay, very good. Let's see Shulchan Aruch, and we're done with that. You guys are great, man. You finished Siman. Kol hakavod. Who can stop you? Yeah, very short one. So it says, if he covered himself with a beged, there's liable on tzitzit, and he didn't put tzitzit on the beged. Bitul mitzvot aseh, he transgressed a positive commandment, right? Okay, very good. Chazak Baruch. Thanks for everybody coming. Laila Tov.
Thank
We'll see
you.
you. God bless. God bless. We'll see you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Good night.
Tomorrow, Thursday night.
That's right.
Okay, Laila Tov Nisim.
לילה טוב, כבוד הרב. תודה רבה.
All the best.
You too.
All right, very good. Baruch Hashem. You know, we took a little bit of a risk with this class, you know what I mean? Because like doing every night, you know, it's like seems like a tall order, you know what I mean? Like it's a little bit exaggerated, but can you imagine, like, you know, actually, you know, we got something going with that. It's really good, Baruch Hashem, you know.
What in terms of who?
Nothing has ever been done like this here in this
Synagogue?
synagogue, you know. It never works. Never, everything they try has failed.
I
I
guess
mean,
you're doing the Shem Shamayim.
Yeah, because we're doing something good, you know, L'Shem Shemayim, the proper way of learning.
Were you
That's what it is,
worried?
you know. This dinner call is already gone, finished, you know. See, 2 weeks, finished.
Were you worried?
I thought it would last 2 months, maybe, you know, but 2 weeks it lasted. That's it. That's it.
Were you worried because of how many people would come?
No, just you know, just what do you call it? You know, having coming every night requires, you know, dedication. You know what I mean? It requires devotion. It's a different level of devotion. You know, coming once a week is nice. You know, yeah, you know, I'll bring some popcorn. You know.
Benny's in Miami.
He's a character.
If he's
He's a
not-
character. This guy.
No one's
Yeah.
doing it if he's not here.
Ah, right. I got it. Okay. He's a good Jew. God bless him. Laila Tov, Laila Tov. You got it.
Thank you.
Laila Tov.
Thank you.
Take your phone. Don't forget your belongings. Somebody left a hat over here. That's yours, right? Okay, good. Beautiful. The pace is really not too bad, you know? Not too bad at
I was
all.
worried to be a little slow.
Right, a little
but
slow, yeah, yeah.
It's good.
Sometimes it's better with a small group, you know, and you do a little faster, you know, with a small group. When the group gets bigger,
Too many
more
questions.
people eating, you know, and